Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your time. I know it's been a very long day. I would like to just kind of ask a few things, if I may, which is, would a decision by the United States to designate the Wagner Group a foreign terrorist organization assist your efforts to hold accountable its members who have committed atrocities in Ukraine and support your efforts?
I think I fully support this idea. I have already mentioned this in my address. I think it's not only about holding them accountable for war crimes committed, it's also about to prevent the other potential war crimes which could be committed not only in Ukraine but worldwide. This designation of Wagner Group as an international terrorist organization could help all of us to stop the activity of this organization, which raise a lot of risks, not only to Ukraine, but also to many other countries of the civilized world. You know that they are not only in Africa, they're not only in Asia, they're now in Caribbean, and I know that this, I believe that response should be unified. For us, it will be extremely helpful because they will, the consequences will mean that they will have more difficulties in financing their operations in Ukraine, and it will save lives of our people.
That's exactly right. And as you mentioned, they're not just in Ukraine, and they have started to get a foothold in Caribbean, and especially there in Haiti, which is very close to the American borders that we need to be considering. And I do look at them very much in the same way that I look at the IRGC or the Quds Force, who is being utilized as proxy militias across the nation to not only look at trying to build up foreign internal strategies to fight against Americans or to fight against those of that nation, but really to be a mercenary group who is there to do nothing but terrorize and murder. So I appreciate your answer very much, and I hope that we can support in that effort. During the past year, more than 33 verdicts were issued for high-level corruption, in addition to hundreds of investigations and dozens of indictments. What kind of progress has Ukraine made in implementing the rule of law reforms set forth by the EU last June as preconditions for negotiations, and has your fight against corruption advanced the rule of law in furthering these conditions?
Thank you for your question. Of course, you know, we have priorities during wartime. And the priorities of my office, of course, are investigation and prosecution of war crimes, fighting against collaborators and traitors, and fight against corruption. In my inaugural speech before the parliament last June, I pointed out that Ukraine has two enemies: external, Russia, and its proxies and its collaborators, and internal corruption. And we need to win both fights. Immediate upon my appointment as a Prosecutor General, I appointed the chair of Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office. What we have during last months, we have appointed new director of National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine after successful open selection process. The High Anti-Corruption Court has elected their president. They were trying to do it within last year. They are independent. They needed to elect. So we have all three bodies equipped with their chairs. Excellent. In March this year, Greco, as an organization of the Council of Europe, has excluded Ukraine from the blacklist of countries which are not fighting against corruption for our joint efforts combating corruption in high-level officials, including members of the parliament, judges, and prosecutors.
Well, I really appreciate that you're paying such close attention when it comes to the prosecution and the continuing investigations into the corruption that is going on in Ukraine. I want to follow up with this, noting that one of your predecessors, the Prosecutor General, was removed when he was investigating a company that is well known called Burisma. Will you be looking into opening that investigation again and ensuring that any type of corruption that Burisma was involved in, that it would be adequately processed, reviewed, and if need be prosecuted with reports back to the United States if there was any of our personnel who were involved?
I have already answered this question during this hearing. This is not a topic of our discussion, and I have already answered your question about our fight against corruption, and I can give you more examples. but our hearings are related to war crimes, and I will concentrate my answers on this topic, if you allow.
With that, I yield back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Stanton.
Thank you very much.